Pastor Roy Gearhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. This week we're going to continue to look at the life of Mephibosheth. Now, Mephibosheth, we've seen, is the grandson of King Saul and the son of Jonathan. Now, David replaced King Saul as king in Israel, and Jonathan and David were best of friends. They had pledged an undying devotion to each other and to each other's families. Well, as David is established in his position, he looks for a way to fulfill that pledge and that promise. And when he discovers Mephibosheth, he brings him to his palace and invites him to sit at his table, restored to Mephibosheth lands that should have been his inheritance. And Mephibosheth asked David, "Why are you doing all of this for a dead dog like me?" I mean, Mephibosheth sees himself in the lowest possible position, completely undeserving of anything. And certainly we look at Mephibosheth and say, he has done nothing to deserve this. He's been living under the radar. He's living in a town that is named Lo-Debar, which means a town with nothing. A town that has nothing to offer. There's no future in it. There's nothing good about it. And that describes Mephibosheth's life. He's really done nothing to stand out, nothing deserving of reward. But this is why he is a perfect picture of our need for God as we come seeking salvation. And David presents this beautiful picture of God's grace given to us, because everything that David does is by his own initiative. It's his promise he's fulfilling. It's his desire to bless that is being accomplished. It's nothing that Mephibosheth has done. And Mephibosheth acknowledges that. I'm just a dead dog. I'm a complete nobody. There's nothing here that makes me deserve any of this. Many people, however, as they come to Christ, struggle to wrap their heads around God's grace. This undeserved blessing, this unmerited favor that God shows us through Jesus. So many want to hold on to some sense of pride that they can say, well, I deserve this somehow. I've done this that at least makes me worthy of something. At the very least, they want to be able to say, well, at least I'm not so bad that I deserve nothing. But in Ephesians, in the 2nd chapter, it all starts off talking about God's grace by declaring that all of us have turned away from God in sin. And every single one of us are deserving of God's wrath because of our sin. But God, who is rich in mercy, took the initiative and shows us his incredible love and grace in Jesus Christ, who came into this world and died for our sin. And God has plans in the coming ages to show his mercy and his goodness. His glory would be revealed in his kindness shown to us. And it is absolutely clear that there is not one single thing that we have done in order to gain this blessing. In fact, even the faith that is required to trust in God is initiated by God, is a gift that he stirs in us. And so that all of it is God's gift to us. For so many, though, again, that is so hard to wrap our heads around, to really come as Mephibosheth and say, I'm no better than a dead dog. I am here already lost in my sin, and I need a Savior. You remember on the crosses when Jesus died, he was crucified between two thieves. One of them is forgettable to us because he remained the same wretch that he had always been and simply cursed Jesus for failing to rescue them from the cross. But the other thief, he receives a promise of Jesus to be with him in paradise that very day. What did he do to deserve that? Nothing. He had an awakening that allowed him to recognize his own sin. And he called out the other thief, saying, we're getting what we deserve. But this man, he's done nothing wrong. And he looked at Jesus with a hope to trust in him. He said, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And so he had acknowledged that Jesus was a Lord over life and death, that he had a kingdom that would go beyond this world and beyond death. That's the way all of us have to come to Jesus, with no sense of pride that says I deserve something, or at least I don't deserve. We have to come, just as that thief, just as Mephibosheth, to the one who saves and saying, please, please save me. May God bless you today, and as you share his good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.